Tiku Shofar. So the pasuk says in Tilim, blow BaChodesh, the first day of the month. Shofar BaKeseh, that actually doesn't say what day. Just blow in the month. BaKeseh v'yom chageinu. It's a very cryptic pasuk and has many pirushim. BaKeseh, when it's concealed, v'yom chageinu, to the day of our rejoicing. What does this pasuk mean? What does it say? Pirush Rashi. So Rashi teaches, what's first of BaKeseh? What does that mean? Yom means yom meyud kavu lakach. Did I say concealed? That's the second pirush. Did I say that?
What's the literal translation?
So Rashi gives Pasha the Pshat. The Keseh concealed is from the Gemara, but the Pasha the Pshat is a set day. Yom Mu'ad Kavua Lakach, a day designated for it. V'chein, he brings a raya from a Pasha Mishlei.
BaKeseh with a hey, not an aleph.
No. Listen. This is Rashi. He brings a pasuk, Akisei Yovai Beisai. At the set time, he will come back home. It's funny.
Sorry, who has a car in that parking lot? Oh, me, I do. Rabbi, your car's there?
My car?
Your van is there? On the right side, right? Did you come by car today?
No.
It's my key. Okay, who else? I'm sorry, I don't like this food, but it's waiting.
It's funny that Rashi there in Mishlei, on this pasuk, Yom Akisei Yovei Beisai, the set, it's all okay. It's all most of the Eibishter coming back home and whatever the context there is. But Rashi brings there this pasuk to say it's a Yom Miyud. He brings Rai on this pasuk, and there here brings Rai from that pasuk. B'moed HaKavua. So there are many days, many words that reflect that mean a set time. Why does it say BaKeseh? Now the question is really set time is really the pasuk in Mishlei. Kisei Keseh rather ba'alef. Chanksiv Keseh behei. So the Mefarshim say, this is Mefarshim there say, like Rashi, like supporting Rashi's Pirush, or similar to Rashi, Keseh behei, you can make Keseh ba'alef, they're interchangeable. But why? The fact is that they're two different words. But the primary question is that there are other words that can bring out the Yom Miyud directly and clearly. Why use such a word that it's so unusual and moreover doesn't even have the standard spelling? So why talk to say BaKeseh with a hey and use this word? Shachodesh miskasabay. Sorry, the Mashakotza BaKeseh dafke. The reason he says BaKeseh with hey lahoides al yinakisei to convey the idea of concealment. K'mayim Razal, the Gemara says, so it's telling us, this pasuk is telling us that you should blow. It's bringing you the Gemara, but in general, it's a lot pashut altogether. What this pasuk is talking about. It's certainly talking about blowing the shofar. So the Gemara says, L'yom chageinu means the Yom Tov itself. There's another pirush that goes on Sukkot, that the Pasha the Pshat is not talking about two separate Yom Tov, it's one Yom Tov. So it's talking about a Yom Tov, a Chag. So the Gemara asks, what Yom Tov do we have where it's Rosh Chodesh, the moon is concealed? All the other Yom Tovim are the 15th of the month, right? Shavuos, Pesach and Sukkot, and Shavuos is 50 days from Pesach. It's not when the moon is concealed. The only one is, by default, we have to conclude the pasuk must mean Havoim Ezer Rosh Hashanah. Zel BaKeseh, and that's why So the Gemara makes this point. So this pasuk is talking about Rosh Hashanah. So the Maimon continues. By quoting this Gemara, he wants to bring out that the union of concealment, that's the Nekudah here. That's what it says Bakesa. And this is similar to, as the Mefarshim say, Kesa with spelled with an Aleph, case Aleph, Shebchinas Aleph Mochusa V'Nelem. That the Aleph, we're referring to the Eibush, is concealed. We'll soon see why it doesn't use a Hey. It uses an Aleph, uses a Hey. This is also what the pasuk says in Tanya the other day. He brought this in. You're going into a land that the eyes of the Eibush are upon it from the beginning to the end of the year. So Mereshis is Choser Aleph. It's missing an Aleph. So the Hainu can by Kesa again that the Kesa case Aleph, Sha Aleph of the Kisuing, the Aleph is concealed. Zeh avoided Rosh Hashanah lahamshich in Chodosh. To be mamshich this in Chodosh is again Tanya, the last days. She said in Yonesh Rosh Hashanah. She can make exactly as the name conveys, can move by Teres Rosh, like that Mitreb explains. He addresses there next the market of all the Biur and Mercedes is the Middle Rebbe's at Teres Rosh, where he explains why it's not called the beginning of the year, but it's called the head of the year. Time doesn't have a head, a body has a head. Why is it calling it the head of the year? So at the beginning of the year, time is a demarcation point. That's all. There's no head. It's a series of nekudas. What time is a whole discussion in Chassidus and in science to have it. But it's certainly not a head. So why is it called a head? The answer, because just like the head, is called the chayes of the from the head it's drawn by the nervous system to every aver. Can make it Rosh Hashanah nichol chayes kol yemei Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the chayes of all year. Achakach nimshech amena chayes prati the whole yom v'yom, and then every day an individual chayes to each day. Heichel Rosh Hashanah atzmai. Starting Rosh Hashanah itself is the hamshacha for that day of Rosh Hashanah.
What does that have to do with missing an aleph by Rishis? So that's Rishis missing an aleph, and then about the head, what does that have to do?
Because it doesn't go to the
why is it missing an aleph?
Yeah, okay, because there's the withdrawal of the chayes. The Ratzon for Eilam is withdrawn. The Dufish al Eilam is drawn.
Right.
And
like
we're redrawing it back into the world in the Eifen of Rosh. That's a separate Nukudah. An Eifen, Kloli, Rosh Hashanah, so that it's then administered.
I'm sorry. Reishis is Choser Aleph, not Kisei is with an Aleph. Reishis.
It's front of both things, no? It's connected.
No, I mean, but in Tanya he explains that the reason why Reishis is Choser Aleph is because to allude to that in Rosh Hashanah the chayes are come back in. In the explanations of Tanya, that's what he says. In the explanations of Tanya of Reishis Hashanah, he brings down in the footnotes this nekudah.
That's what Kesa with an Aleph means.
Why is it
okay?
The Aleph is concealed.
So why is Rishis connected to Kisei?
Because that's when the Amshach is. The beginning of the year, Rosh Hashanah. It's Behelim at Rosh Hashanah, and then when Mamshich it now, that which is concealed, now starts the process of Amshach. What? What happened is he's explaining that Kesa with an Aleph, not Kisei Kesa with an Aleph is concealed. Rosh Hashanah, there's a withdrawal, and then on that Rosh Hashanah and Tkiya Shofar and the whole avodas we mamshech with the Giloi once again. It's Reishis Hashanah missing again, the same thing. The Aleph is missing from Reishis, like the word Kesa, which implies the Aleph is concealed, and there's a new Amshacha for the whole year, which is why Rosh Hashanah is called the head and not a beginning.
Yeah, but he has Kesa with a head.
We'll get to that. But Rashi brought as a raya that it means concealment. He brings the pasuk Kesser Yovel Beisa with an aleph. And the kasha there was taka, so why is it with the hey? But first he's explaining that the word concealment really no, the classic word concealment is with an aleph, which makes that question stronger. Why here with a hey? And now he's explaining the union of kesser with an aleph, because that's what this word is. B'chlolos. We'll see why a hey. I'm pretty sure. Pardon? It's kesser. It's a question. Why?
It's generally. It is covered.
That's the general answer, but that's why it says. One second.
In Hebrew, the passages cover something up, right? So that.
It's a kesser. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I thought it was
Kesser with a. Yeah, I'm sorry. Correct. Kesser with the hay is concealment. So let's answer the question why kesser with the hay, right? I'm sorry. Yes, I'm reading this with an aleph, but I'm not seeing straight. The aleph. Yeah. Okay, so he's answered why with the hay to show the end of concealment. Are we clear now? Anything not clear?
So then we can ask why the pasuk that has an aleph there. That's referring to kesser.
The pasuk on kesser yom v'lebeishay.
Yeah, Rashi's bringing that pasuk to tell us kesser.
That's explaining it of that's a set time.
Oh. So then we're just putting that, meaning that was explained set time. That's like
that's Pasha the Pshat. Now we're asking why spell it with the hay? Answer to convey the idea of concealment.
But then it talks about the case aleph is also there's a concealment there.
And there's all concealment there too. The aleph is concealed. So that could explain.
But that's the Rishis Chaser aleph is the case aleph.
Right. And that's the pasuk. The Yom HaKesser Yovei Beisai is adding insight. What's concealed? The aleph is concealed. As conveyed in the word Rishis.
But the Kesser aleph is significant again.
It is significant because it's telling us what's concealed. Because what's being concealed? Alufi Shaloilo. What's that?
Nothing that both. It says like the kesser with a hay, just like.
So the kesser with the aleph sheds light on the kesser with the hay. Kesser means concealment, and the kesser with an aleph is telling us what's concealed. So that's Avodah Rosh Hashanah. To Mamshech, the Rotzen for creation, it's withdrawn and concealed. To Mamshech, it from Klali, and then by from Prati. Yeah? And related to that is that the missing aleph in the word Reisha spells the word Tishrei. The pasuk says the beginning of the end of the year. What's the beginning of the year? There's no one in the Torah that tells us what the beginning of the year is. We're just told months. Here's the remez. The beginning of the year is the 7th month, is Tishrei, which with the name emerged much later anyway. There's no name in the Torah was given. The name came from when the Yidden came back from Bavel after the Churban Bayis Rishon. That's when they came up with these names. Literally, came up from Bavel, Olu with the names with them. The Torah is Meramez. At the beginning of the year is Tishrei. The whole lineage of this is deliberate, as we're seeing. This whole lineage that's the beginning of the year, shrouded in concealment, because that's what's happening. The Eibush is withdrawing his holodotzen for creation. And it's abtas imamshech mechodesh. So it doesn't even tell us Torah what Rosh Hashanah is. It doesn't say what it is. It's the only Yom Tov where it does not say why you're observing it. So Rosh Chodesh, any other Rosh Chodesh, why is it singled out? Blow is what blow, when blow, how blow. It's all very obscure, consistent with, because it's the withdrawal. And as it were, we write the script for it, not the Eibush. Continuing now. So Rosh Hashanah, Nichal Chayes called Yemei Hashanah. So Rosh Hashanah is the Chayes of the whole year. Then this individual Chayes, Hashanah itself gets its own allotted Chayes. It's a shikul chidush here. It's not just clothing. It's also a day of the year. So it has its amshach as well. Chayes Rosh Hashanah, Kol Hashanah, Chodsh, Shelo Yemei Adayin Yemei Oilo. It's a new Oy, was never revealed in the world. As we're learning now in Chitas. So what's the pasuk says? From the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So Rebbe explains the diak. Rebbe Shaila is it's beginning to the end of the year, so it's continuous. The pasuk in fact says, Tomid ein Hashem lakecha b'mereish shana v'dachar shana. Rebbe's answer is that no, every year there's a new Hamshachah. Yeah? He brings now from the Gemara. It's from the Gemara, yeah. Kepidish Shazal, Kol Shana Sharosha B'tchilasa. Any year that is poor at the outset. Now what does poor mean? He brings from Rashi in the brackets. Tesha says the same thing. She saw Oisin Atzma the Rosh in Rosh Hashanah. He didn't make themselves poor, Rosh Hashanah. Daber Tachanunim with Tefillah, to express supplication and prayer. Then Misasheres B'Seifa. The end of it, it's rich. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Mereishis Hashanah. From the beginning, Mereishis Ksiv, missing the Aleph, the Ad Acheres in the end, and as Rashi brings, and the Farshim bring on the Gemara there, that when you say the word Acheres, the end, mean the end, a good end. It's implicit is a good end. So the pasuk is saying, if the beginning is the avodah of bittul, the daber tachanunim betfilah, then this pearls a rich conclusion, a great divine response. Sefer sheyesh lo acheres, in this it has a good ending. Hainu. The pshat in the Gemara is kasher hirosh b'tchilasa. The pasuk is not just saying. The Gemara, is not simply saying that when it's Rosh in the beginning, like it's a good simon, it's like a segula. The end will be good. It's not a segula. It's this avodah itself, this avodah of Rosh of Bittul, that brings the wealth in its way. The Baal Shem Tov says, and it brings it from in the Maamar of Shana of the Rabbi.
What is the Rosh Tevis to Divra Masal in 13, and also in the previous Ha'ara? 13 Divra Masal.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I just want to make sure.
Okay. It's my Friedrich Rebbe. Kapirish Baal Shem Tov Shamayim become upon Rabbeinu Nisayenu Chak. Addmo. It's funny. We heard from many times from Rabbi. So using plural, then it's singular. Ala Posek, the Posek says in the EU, V'hoyer Eshischa Mitzah. Your beginning should be small, narrow, or even tzad. But the end, it'll be very flourish. Sheideze said the Baal Shem Tov. Again, it's the same Baal Shem Tov's taich. It's not. It's two separate things. Now, don't get over the beginning. Get over the beginning that it's difficult. The end will be good. That's not pshat in the pasuk. Sheideze, that's the avodah. Sheideze shereshischa mitzah. It's through that the foundation, the avodah being scene of mitzvah, of bittul, that causes the blossoming and the true growth. The more the mitzvah, the more the bittul, in the yoseh yishge ma'od le'elo greater is the blossoming, the flowering, higher and higher. Now, to be divided in the Indian is in the Pashtus HaKosov, the pasuk which we are talking about, that Eretz Hashem Shemakecha Bo Mishana, Kel Eretz Yisrael goes in Eretz Yisrael. Pnimis Yonim, in Eretz Koi Al Svidus HaMalchos, land goes on Malchus, like the land receives the seed and the rain. So that's Malchus is the Mekabel. So Malchus is the source of Eretz. Ki Yadua, the Pirush Pnimis HaInyan, it's known, he just finished now, just said, the Pnimis in Yonim, Eretz goes to Malchus. So the Rebbe adds in square brackets. When we say Pnimis HaInyan, change the Inyan Acher. It's not something else, another dimension. It's that very thing, it's very Pnimius. The Pnimius of the earth is Malchus. The supernal Eretz. So there's two levels above our physical plane. There's Eretz Elyoina, and below that a level called Eretz HaChaim, and then we have the Eretz HaGashmi. And then you have this lowest plane of Elam Asiyah. So it's all Pnimius, all levels with the same Inyan. Here we mean not just Malchus of Elam Asiyah, Elam Asiyah Atzmai. Included in the word Eretz is Elam Asiyah itself, and Elam Asiyah is all of these levels. It's all the Malchus in its various incarnations. Eretz Yisrael, and that's Eretz Yisrael, Shemichavendes, Kinegaderetz Elyoina, which corresponds to the supernal Eretz and all of its levels. Nikras al Shema, and it's called because of their name. So the square brackets is saying, we're going to talk about Eretz Yisrael. That's the Inyan, the Pnimis of Eretz Yisrael, the Inyan of Malchus. So we're talking about Sfiras HaMalchus. We're talking about the beginning of it being Rosha, and then Acharis Yishkem Me'oid, meaning Shalideshi Rosha B'tchilasa, through the poorness, the poverty at the outset, spiritually speaking, in a virtuous way, as the Misasheres, the Sefer, Sha'ingim Binyan HaMalchus, and what are we talking about? The building of Malchus, from a small state to an expanded and broad state. The Prati says in greater detail, so that's a Machzedek there says on the pasuk in Yirmiyah. He invokes the word Eretz 3 times. Eretz, 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 Shimu, Shimi Dvaravaya. Calls upon the land to listen to the word of Hashem. There's a Pirush of Rashi, so remember this portion of the Pirushim, it's a Machzedek's Pirush. In general, the context of the Navi is bemoaning that the land, the Eden weren't observing the mitzvah, Shemitah, and so on. So he brings it 3 times. These are the 3 sources. Malchus of Malchus. Shnikras Eretz, it's called Eretz. What are the 3 sources? The root of Malchus is in 3 places. Number 1, the Nehi. That's a Chod Yisrael. Higher Chagas and higher Chabad. Okay, put that aside now, we're going to revisit it. Another Pirush now, Al Yisrael, referring to Yidden, are called Hashem's land of desire. We had Hashem's Taj also recently, no? Al Apostle, it should be for me, says the pasuk. God says to Yidden, the land of desire. Said the Baal Shem Tov, Hashem Sheberetz, Ba'aretz Yesh Namitzes Gedolim Asher. It's great treasure, Shekol, Shigal Oisa. As much as that we will reveal from the earth, Lo Yuchel, Lo Ilam, Lagalis, Kol will never exhaust it. K'moikin Yesh Namitzes Tovim Shemtzim Kol Echa Vecha B'Yisrael. There are good treasures in every Yid, Lo Shetzorech Lagal Oisa. Have to be revealed. But see in Baal Shem Tov, that Shabbat that with Hashem Tov, what is Avodah is Lifael. Shebnei Yisrael Yitnes HaYevul, Yidden should give the Yevul means the harvest, the one better word,
the capital.
Yeah, but it's a term that's used when it comes to produce.
The reaping?
No, when a produce is. Huh? Crop, yeah. That Yidden should be able to produce the crop, the goods, the yield that Hashem's land of desire can produce. Behind the legalis to reveal the treasures in every year. Hashem's whole mission, and that's affected through the spreading of Chassidus. Today's
Yom Yom.
Is it today's Yom Yom?
Today's Yom Yom is you're going to get h'tשכ. It's right. So in other words, if you're going to bust your chops, you're going to get there.
Okay, so this Avodah reveals the treasures of every Yikim Eilish and Imtzayim, Gam Eilish and Imtzayim Chutz, even those that are they're on the outside, as it were. Proteus, Yois, so Yidna called Eretz. It's cold.
Huh?
Can make it a bit warmer.
Yeah?
It's probably heat it to 21.5 is good. It could be some 21.
It's 21.5.
Yeah, so you can make it to 22 if you want.
Okay.
Okay, leave it. It's going to get up to 21. Now it's cold. It'll get up to the second. Proteus, now more detail. He says another pirush. It's explaining why the project says 3 times Eretz. Oh, there's a song. This Israeli designed this song. It's not maybe got it from here. Who knows? Maybe not. Huh?
Song?
You don't know. It's not a mitzvah to know. So what are the 3 inyanim? Knesset Yisrael, Teresh Baal Peh, and mitzvahs. And they're all hinted in this one pasuk, Eretz, Shimi Dvar Havai. So now I have to explain the 3 shirashim of Malchus and the 3 inyanim we just mentioned now. Knesset Yisrael, Teresh Baal Peh, and mitzvahs. So through the last 3 components we just mentioned, 3 dimensions. Yidden doing mitzvahs ma'atziyas. That's one thing he said. How do you do it? Remember the 3 types you just said. Mitzvahs, Teresh Baal Peh, and Yidden. So Yidden doing mitzvahs. Kefishin is bayre b'Teresh Baal Peh. How do you know how to do them? Explain Teresh Baal Peh. How to do mitzvahs, the instructions is dafke Teresh Baal Peh. Teresh B'Ksav, we don't know, it's just general. Pratis Teresh Baal Peh. Azim Mamshichim Oir Chodosh Li is bringing a Malchus. So we're drawing into Malchus Oir Chodosh Shenikras Eretz, which was the previous types. Eretz and the 3 shaloshim of Malchus. Follow? So the second 3 inyanim, that's how we're building. It's all interconnected. It's all in the same pasuk. That's how we build Malchus. Inyan Shimi Dvar Havai. May you listen, hear the word of Hashem, meaning is Galus Alikus, bringing a Malchus where? In Eretz. In Hilam.
The Yesh Lahir, in the explanation, what he explains about Eretz, he says first it's the Yidden, then Teresh Baal Peh, then mitzvahs. And now in the explanation, how do he goes in a reverse order.
No.
Oh, it says Yidden mitzvahs.
No, Yidden doing mitzvahs, guided
Yidden 1, 3, 2. In the explanation, he goes 1, 2, 3. Yidden, Teresh Baal Peh, and mitzvahs. And just Lahir. And in the explanation, he goes,
Because
Yidden.
the
Okay,
point
right.
is that you should do the mitzvah. How do you do the mitzvah? You need to Shebal Peh. Right? So anyway. Gemara says, Mitzvah Yom B'Shofar. So the whole thing in the midst of the day is Shofar, showing it Shofar, Basiya, Begashmi's Davke. We have to physically blow behind the Shleimas, become Bidis Psukim Malchus. It's not enough to say the Psukim, Avshakim Aswasanav and Maisa, even though moving the lips is considered a small Maisa, a small action, still not enough. Elatzarechlis, Maisa Mamesh, Beginner's Heretz. Davke, there's a pearl in being a Malchus, and this is pearl being a Malchus, about Shikim, them. The kavan is not only to restore creation to the way it was, it shouldn't be a weakening. It's a loshon and other memory, literally weakening of hands. But it means it should not be, the kavan is not that there shouldn't be a weakening of the way the world was till now, restoring it to the way it was, but rather the shetiyah kam shachas. Hashem's withdrawal is not enough to bring it back, that the world should be shaking. It's not enough. It shouldn't be shaking, but rather the chodosh. Okay, continue tomorrow, Mr. Shem.